Dun, 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 dun. Hey everyone, Big Pauly here, aka Cudzndrips. Today I thought I'd go through my top 5 Blu-ray movies on the Steelbook that I just like to shove in the player and just crank the volume up. So yeah, let's go from number 5 to number 1. Woohoo! So okay folks, so these are not, I thought I'd show you my shirt. Can you see that? Good old Ray and BB-8 there. They did actually find Luke, but it took 2 bloody hours to find him. And then what do we get? About 10 seconds on screen. So damn you, Mark Hamill. But yeah, looking forward to episode 8 in December, so that should be really good. Anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to count down my top 5 films. Not necessarily my top films, but these are the Blu-rays on Steelbook. So these are the movies on Steelbook that I just like to crank up, put in the old Blu-ray player and just enjoy for a couple of hours. So anyway, let's crack on, and we're going to start off with number 5. Alright folks, number 5, this is Titanic. Now, I think France are the only country in the world that actually have Titanic on Blu-ray Steelbook. So I don't know what the hell's going on with the rest of the world. It should be out there ages ago, just like The Abyss and True Lies, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I'm really happy with this. I really like this Steelbook. There's no embossing or debossing or anything like that, but you can get a really nice shine on that. Look at that beautiful picture on there, and on the back a picture of the old doomed ship, obviously before it hits the iceberg. Now this was one of the first releases that actually came out that had the space for the 4 discs, so it made it possible to put TV series on Steelbook, such as like Agent Carter and Breaking Bad and things like that. Otherwise we would have been stuck with like jumbos for however many years. A lot of people, it's 50-50 with the audience for Titanic, I think. Now when I went to see this Titanic, I mean the atmospherics in the theatre was unbelievable. I mean, we are talking chair rocking, thundering. Oh my god, it was unbelievable. And that very last scene at the end, where the camera pans down through the ship like a flying ghost, and everybody starts clapping in the actual inside of the ship. I actually thought everybody in the audience was actually clapping as well, because it was just absolutely everywhere. So that was fantastic. So yeah, I like to put this in and crank this one up. This is unbelievable, and it's also got the 3D version. So James Cameron did a really good job of actually converting this into 3D. So much, you know, that he's actually going to do it with Terminator 2 later in the year. So I am so looking forward to going to watch Terminator 2 in 3D. So yeah, that's my number 5. Okay folks, number 4 on the list is J.J. Abrams' reboot of Star Trek from 2009. Now this was a play.com exclusive that came out way many years ago now, but you can see that beautiful shine on there, and this actually comes with it's the 3-disc version, so it's got absolutely everything in it, as you can see. Gorgeous. The movie itself, I think is probably one of the best Star Trek films. Now I know I'm probably going to get for saying that, but a lot of people say, oh no, J.J. Abrams, he completely ruined Star Trek, he completely bollocked it. But you have to go in with a fresh set of eyes. It can't stay the same for however many years. I myself am one of the biggest Star Trek fans in the world. I mean, I started with everything from Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, even Enterprise was really good to a certain extent. And so, you know, there's a new Star Trek series coming out as well, which is Star Trek Discovery. Not too sure on the ship yet. I know they showed a promo at one of the events. I think it was maybe San Diego Comic Con, and the ship looked a bit triangular. But I'm sure that was just like a promo shot to show what it was going to look like. But we just heard that Jason Isaacs is actually going to be the captain of the ship. So he is a fantastic actor, and that is going to be so good. And the thing about with this Star Trek, other than the special effects and the music is fantastic. Michael did a really good job with that music and that theme tune, which is carried throughout all the other two films. The casting was absolutely fantastic. I absolutely adore Chris Pine as Kirk and Zachary Quinto as Spock. A lot of people didn't like the Spock Uhura love triangle, but they tried a new spin on it. But I didn't have any problems with it, so that's that. And of course, with the unfortunate death of Anton Yelchin, they're going to have to rethink of what they're going to do to the character in the next Star Trek film. The fourth Star Trek film, which I believe they're already working on at the moment, apparently they're going to go maybe back in time, or I don't know, trans-dimensional, some shit like that, and they're going to go back to the battle at the first film. So Kirk's going to actually get to intervene, and he's going to get to interact with his dad, George Kirk, which was played by Chris Hemsworth. So they're going to have to nab him. He's going to look totally different because he's all completely bulked up now, so I think they're going to have to sort of like slim him down or something, some shit like that. But yeah, I really like this film. I really, really like this film, and I've probably seen this about 20 times as it is, if not more. So it's a good adventure film. So yeah, that's my number 4 on the list. Okay, number 3 on my list, and this should be way up there in everybody's collection. Back to the Future. I mean, I love this Steelbook because it's the trilogy. It's kind of like a comic-y art feel to it that came out from Zavvi. It was very limited as well. They also released the individual steels as well. But yeah, this is probably one of my top ones in the collection. And like the Titanic one, it's got space. It's got space for 4 discs on there. So you've got all 3 films plus the bonus disc as well. And the artwork of these discs is absolutely beautiful. First time I saw Back to the Future, actually in 1985, was in the Empire Leicester Square, which is in London, and we had a bomb threat halfway through the film, so we had to leave the cinema for about 15-20 minutes. I always remember that. It was just a scare, so thankfully, and it was the time when all the Irish, the IRA problems were going on as well, so it was always a case of, are they going to blow the cinema up or not? But thankfully they didn't. Thank you very much. But the film itself, yeah, Michael J. Fox, he does a great job. They originally picked Eric Stoltz to play Marty McFly, and they did actually do they filmed some scenes, promo scenes and things like that, and they kind of got halfway through, or they got a quarter way through of the filming, and they determined that no, it wasn't working with him. He didn't have the chemistry, with Doc Brown, with Christopher Lloyd. So luckily Michael J. Fox was available to do it. I think at the same time he was filming Family Ties, so he was filming, Family Ties in the daytime, and then buggering off to film Back to the Future at night. So there must have been a hell of a shoot for him. He must have been exhausted at the end of it, but what a job he did. Whole cast was fantastic. Crispin Glover, hilarious. I love Crispin Glover in anything that he does. And also Tom Wilson. I mean, you could never have cast a better Biff than Tom Wilson. So that was fantastic. And Back to the Future will always remain as being one of my favourite films of all time. I actually would say that in my Steelbooks, the Back to the Future trilogy is number 4, so it includes the second film and the third film as well. I love each film evenly, you know, but for me the first film will always be one of those treasures that they should never touch. Don't remake it, for God's sake, and don't put no snotty-nosed little blighter in it as well and make it for a teen audience. As I was talking about earlier on, the mighty Terminator 2 Judgement Day. Nice picture of Arnie there on the back. Now this isn't a big steelbook release. I mean, it's very basic. I mean, you've got all the silver, but you've got spot gloss on it, and inside you've got the disc, plus also the T800 as well. So yeah, that's really nice. The film itself is one of my favourites of all time, and I have seen that film countless times. The first time I saw it, we won it in a competition, so we won 2 tickets to go and see it in a competition in 1991. So I went up on the train with my mum, had a really great time, but very small theatre, no big surround sound, 4K, Dolby Atmos, stuff like that, just basic. But yeah, since I put this on my home theatre and it just blows the sodding roof off. And I am so excited about Terminator 2 coming back out into cinemas, and the cinema that I go to, I mean, this is staggering. It's a fantastic cinema with 4K. You've got the best sound system probably this side of London, this lower side of London, without going to an IMAX. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this, especially in 3D, because we know what a good job Cameron did with the Titanic. My number 2 on the list. Okay folks, so my number 1 film to just crank in the Blu-ray player, turn it up and blow the roof off is got to be Independence Day. And this is a special limited, it's a special 20th anniversary edition. It's got a really nice lenticular. Look at that fantastic lenticular on the cover there. And this is there's the front cover there, and the back cover, good old Will Smith there, and it's got the discs inside, plus also some nice art cards, and that is actually, I really like that inside artwork. It's really nice inside artwork. The film itself, I mean, this is a balls out action film. I mean, you go and see this and it's a typical popcorn munching, leave your brain at the door Saturday afternoon flick. I mean, absolutely fantastic. It's a punch the air type of film. You know, you don't need to think about anything. You just like, you go in, see some aliens being kicked in the nuts, and that's fantastic. For me, one of the first things, obviously with the special effects, I mean, even though it's 20 years old, the special effects carry today. I mean, you could think that it was actually made today. And although I liked Resurgence, the recent sequel, I wouldn't put it up there with Independence Day. It's a good film. It's a really good film, but there's no way stands next to this. This is the ultimate classic. Jeff Goldblum, absolutely hilarious, and Will Smith doing his fantastic one-liners, and some of the alien shots that you get in this, like when they get up there on the mothership, and they're just lined up. You know, you can see them as far as the eye can see, all waiting to come down and invade. You kind of think of, oh shit, what's happening next? Who's going to get their asses kicked? Us. But yeah, that is fantastic. I'm glad a lot of the cast returned for Resurgence as well, but I'm a little surprised that Will Smith didn't. I understand that he was actually had a choice to film either Independence Day Resurgence or Suicide Squad, so he picked Suicide Squad. I don't think it would have added anything extra if he'd actually filmed, you know, if he'd actually come on board. But one thing that I was a little bit miffed about was the recasting of President Whitmore's daughter. They cast her as this busty 20-odd-year-old blonde girl, you know. But the original actress, I think it's Mae Whitman. I mean, she's still an actress. I don't know why they didn't chase her and invite her to actually be part of it, because that would have been such good continuity, especially as Bill Pullman was in, you know, a majority of the second film. But that's only my little niggle. I mean, regarding the two films, I mean, this will always go in before Resurgence. And for me, one of the things that I really love about this film is that absolute fantastic soundtrack, with the music by David Arnold. I mean, it's got one of the most iconic theme tunes of films from years. I mean, I actually bought the soundtrack, the CD soundtrack, and just listened to it for days and days and days. And it's just the combination of, you know, oh my God, fantastic. I can't speak highly enough of this film. As I say, these films are not necessarily my favourite films of all time. Some of them are, but these are my favourite Blu-ray steelbooks in my collection that I like to put in the Blu-ray player and just let rip. Sorry, neighbours. But yeah, so I hope you enjoy this little video of my top 5. Hopefully I'll get another video up soon. There's a couple of ones that I want to showcase, like my top Pixar films. Thanks for viewing this little video about my top 5 favourite Blu-ray films on Steelbook that I like to just shove in the Blu-ray player and crank. So until my next video, have fun out there and cheerio, bye bye.